I'm still trying to wrap my head around this case that has emerged in Hong Kong and which is making global headlines because, like I keep saying, this is chilling. This sounds like the plot of a science fiction movie, except that it's not. It's happened in the real world. Till the other day, we were talking about how deepfakes are extremely dangerous and can be used to tarnish reputations, spread disinformation, what have you. Now, we are looking at a case of a 200 crore rupee scam that has been orchestrated with the use of deep fake technology. Put this into perspective for us. How did the scammers pull this off?
Well, then, yeah, it's just become better, faster, cheaper to create deepfakes, right? So therefore, these tools are available. There are people who are very sophisticated in terms of hacking and phishing, and the tools that they now have at their disposal make it even scarier because what do you trust in this case? Um, there are for people, especially in positions of power, or people who are extremely public with what they do. For example, there are enough videos of you online, right? It is possible to basically use that to generate visuals of an individual, and also to create manipulated media like this. And in some cases, it can be useful. Like, for example, for a politician, they could get themselves scanned and they could be present at multiple election rallies at the same time. And we've seen even the prime minister demonstrate his virtual presence using holograms in the past. But now you can actually create more content in his voice, and you can create imagery of him saying this. So why are scammers going to be far behind because they have the same technology available to them? Um, in India, we have a situation where there's a vast amount of phishing and hacking and social engineering happening. People are regularly losing money to scammers, and there is a decline in trust. Deepfakes are essentially a new form of social engineering over here. And what we've seen in this particular case, how difficult is it for someone to, not believe it in a sense, right? I remember we'd spoken to one of the founders for an article that we did at Media Nama a year and a half ago, where someone had actually fooled an employee in his company to send money to a particular account using UPI by masquerading him by using his photograph in a WhatsApp account. So scammers are going to become more and more sophisticated. We're going to see this play out in India as well. And this is the case of even Zoom calls and visuals because the amount was really high. But I think at some point in time, what you're going to see is that there are going to be lower value scams, but many more scams using voice. Like my voice is available all over the internet because I've spoken at multiple places. That voice is very, very easy to clone now. The way I say something is easy to clone. So, you have tools where when a person may be saying something, but it can be morphed into another person's voice with their tonality. Um, and we're seeing the sophistication of scams increase even in terms of situational awareness, like knowing where a person is, sort of masquerading as that person's parent, and sending like an emergency message across. So scams are going to grow. That's very clear.
Scams are going to grow. This, is a terrifying scenario, but a realistic one that we will have to brace ourselves for. Pawan Duggal, let me come to you. Nikhil Pawar says we are seeing how deep fake technology is being used at a rapid pace. Why would scammers be left behind? Today, this has happened in Hong Kong. Tomorrow, it could very well happen here in India. Now, just look at some of the basic facts of this case. A fake Zoom meeting takes place. All the participants except the victim of the scam are created artificially using deep fake technology. The chief financial officer of this multinational company is cloned using this very technology. And this man purportedly tells the victim to make 15 transfers totaling $25 million to 5 different bank accounts. And by the time the victim wakes up and smells the coffee, it is too late. 200 crore rupees are gone from the coffers of the company. I mean, this is absolutely mind-boggling. It seems like there are no limits to the misuse of these technologies. I mean, deepfake is absolutely terrifying now.
Sure. I think deepfakes represent the new age reality of today's times. When we actually map this up with the new sociological development of the golden age of cybercrime having already arrived with the coming of COVID-19, we are looking at a very dangerous mix of cocktails. And now, increasingly, cyber criminals are using artificial intelligence not just as a means for going ahead and engaging in their criminal activities, but more significantly, for the purposes of doing cybercrime using artificial intelligence. Deepfakes has only one manifestation in this regard. We're going to see far more potent, far more dangerous utilizations of this technology as we go forward. So the thumb rule is the time has come where there's so much of misinformation or so much of fake news all around us that we must start inculcating an element of distrust and mistrust in our lives. The time has come when we should not go ahead and rely upon any information that we see, hear, or read till such time we have independently verified the authenticity or correctness thereof. And that's something that's going to be now a minimum requirement for digital life. Why? Because if we are going to rely upon this fake content or content generated by emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, we could be subject to legal harm, legal injury, for which we alone are going to be responsible. In addition, it's going to potentially suck us into a new flux of litigation and legal exposure for which we are not necessarily prepared. In addition, we have to now realize that the time has come where we have to start now inculcating cybersecurity as a way of life. Actually, due diligence, care, and caution will have to be your guiding lights in this new age of artificial intelligence. Because anything and everything that you see could potentially be generated by artificial intelligence, could be used for the purposes of causing harm or prejudicial impact to you, your legal interests, your monies, your reputation, but more significantly, could ultimately contribute in a large manner so as to prejudicially impact you and your legal interests. Therefore, the new age is not just an age of new opportunities, it's also the age of immense new challenges, which users have to keep in mind. You also have to be mindful of the fact that the world still today is grappling on whether it really requires new legal frameworks on artificial intelligence. India, for example, does not have any dedicated law on artificial intelligence. The only thing that we have is the Indian Information Technology Act 2000, a 24-year-old legislation which can hardly be made effective in the context of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. This is the time where countries across the world are still struggling to find out how they could go ahead and regulate the misuse of artificial intelligence and deepfakes for criminal purposes. This is the time where China has come up with a new legislative enactment, a new law on generative AI in August 2023. This is the time where the European Union has come up with an AI Act in December 2023. This is the time and the era when New York has come up with a new law on artificial intelligence impacting employment. So this entire new legal frameworks and a variety of new legal propositions or legal enactments that are in the pipeline. The thumb rule or the major fundamental challenge is how do we recognize and regulate the misuse of artificial intelligence